If this looks like a hostage video, because it feels like one.
That's Stockholm Syndrome. Am I on coke? I don't know. Fuck my chungus life.
What are we doing? I don't know. Genuinely, what have I got myself into? So, this video is going to be very similar to my last one of going through a book and doing a full rundown and then talking about the review. However, I'm going about it differently for the sole reason that I started reading it and I was like, if I have to go back through and write an entire script for this, I think I'm gonna die. So, instead, I am going to do a bit of a book vlog, so I'll do a few updates. That's why I look a little weird, because the angle is not ideal. However, what can you do? You're getting a vlog. You're getting something more natural. So, it is time to introduce the book. Also, if my voice goes in and out, it's because I'm recovering from being sick. I'm having a tough time these days, okay? Tough time. Nevertheless, the book that I picked up at the bookstore while on the phone with Dewy is Blood of Hercules. Hello? Yeah. Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss. Now, I've heard mixed things about this book, and that's why I bought it. That's right. I heard mixed things, and I read the back, and it sounds interesting and sounds like something fun. And after my royal failure of a of a good experience with a romantasy book, I thought, why not try again with a book that is very controversial? So, I have started reading Blood of Hercules. Now first, let's do a quick overview of the back. So, it's all in I. I want to say that I've read 2 chapters already, and it's all in first person, no matter what. And it's just kind of like, okay. So, I, because we don't have a character name. Yeah, we don't have a character name. So, I, the royal I, is struggling to survive in a Titan-infested world where Spartans, who are immortals, from 12 royal families, who all have godlike powers, rule over everything. As a shy, stammering foster child with nothing, I keep my head down, cover my scars, and focus on excelling in school. At least I try to. Then it happens. My blood test reveals I'm part of the powerful elite. I'm sorry, that line just got me giggling a little bit, because, like, I wish my blood test revealed I was special. My blood test just always comes back that I am a hair away from needing vitamin D infusions. Did you know that was a thing? I didn't until I was told I was very, very low in vitamin D. Nevertheless, I am one of them, a Spartan. Forced to attend the Spartan War Academy, I undergo the most harrowing test of all time to see if I have what it takes to be an immortal. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at this. Just something about that makes me giggle. There's just a few problems. Achilles and Patro are my scary mentors. Charon, the ferryman of death, and Augustus, the son of war, are my terrifying professors. Also, I'm pretty sure either someone's stalking me everywhere I go, or my sanity's slipping. I have a bad feeling both are true. I picked up this book because I thought the back was hilarious. Like, it reads a bit like a Greek mythology fanfic on the back, and so I was like, I'm not really like one of those girlies that's like super like, oh, Greek mythology fan fiction, you know. That's not that's never really been my vibe, but something about just I think someone's stalking me. I think someone's stalking me. Or I'm just losing my mind. I just was like, okay, I need to read this. Now, I did not open the pages of the book until I bought it. And so, this is just some crazy fan art. Like, I don't think this is AI. The face is a little too interesting to be AI. But I could be proven wrong. I was just shocked to find photo paper. Now, I will say, because we're doing this together, we're vlogging, we're doing this together, there is content warning, which I do appreciate putting this here. The content warning is, this is a story of dark romance and darker obsession. Please note that it contains themes that may be triggering for some readers. So those themes are violence, depictions of murder, stalking, someone stalking me everywhere I go, or my sanity slipping. Suicidal thoughts, bullying, explicit language, and betrayal. Okay. It's a slow burn, but there are open door scenes. I don't know what that means. Does that mean, like, we watch? Please take care of yourself. Sometimes being... Yeah, I thought this was smart. I thought this was a smart thing. I do appreciate content warnings on books that are darker. I think that's, like, the healthy way to do things. I know people are like, oh, why do you need a trigger warning? It's a content warning. So you know what's in there. So you can prep yourself, or you can say, nah. If you're stupid like me, you just buy the book anyways. Now, this is where we're gonna have a bit of an issue, because I did not read the dedication. And Dewey and I have had this conversation before. Some people are making their dedications super weird, and I fear I came across one. This book is dedicated to all the girls who like morally gray fictional men and who scream out loud the first time they read, "Who did this to you?" This one's for you. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be so interesting. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Okay. So, for those who don't know me, that's not my vibe. I am, like, all those videos of, like, people being like, you're not affectionate friend. I'm that person. So let's do let's talk about the first chapters. The first two chapters. So, the first chapter, I was actually bought the fuck in. Bought the fuck in. Because we start out with what I'm assuming is judging by the fact that the chapter is called Fate, or
Omniscient.
That. It starts with a prophecy of some character. I'm assuming it is not our main character, because this person is involved with the other Spartans. I'll say Spartans because that's the dialogue here, but know that Spartan equals, like, god level human being, like immortals. Like, just keep that in mind. This person gives a prophecy that certain actions need to be taken, including, first one kind of threw me off, that the age to wed must be 26. For immortals, that's really young. But when I first read that, I was like, yes, no marrying young, let's go. Live your life, girl. And then I realized that's like 18 for them. But nevertheless. And then they were also to instate 2 of the Spartans as professors, which is Karen and Karen. I'm gonna say Karen instead of Karen. Karen and Augustus. I'm American. I say these things a certain way. And they should be professors. And so we can see the pieces that we saw in the back falling into place. I don't know about the wedding thing. That wasn't on the back, but... So immediately off the bat, I'm like, I see you. I see you. This is interesting. I see the pieces coming together. I'm in it. I'm ready to win. I'm ready to get crack-a-lackin'. Okay? Second chapter. I feel this is what my creative writing teacher in high school must have felt like when reading some people's stories. This is great lore. Before I go into it, this is great lore. The lore is interesting, and I haven't read anything like this in terms of the lore. I'm gonna give it that straight off the motherfucking gate, okay? Interesting lore. But the way, I cannot emphasize the way this is given to us is butthole, okay? It is, very not cute, so to speak. So, we go through the creation of what we know as Spartans. And also gives us a bit of a timeline about what time we are at. So, this goes eons before humanity was born, the state of Sparta. We are not talking about actual Sparta, like the Greek Sparta. We're talking about this metaphorical Sparta. Or not metaphorical. This fantastical Sparta. I will never say Sparta in this and actually mean the place that is Sparta. Okay? I will not mean the historical place of Sparta. I mean the Godland. Okay? The Godland. State of Sparta was spread across thousands of archipelago islands in modern-day Greece. So what this breaks down is that the Spartans was composed of 100 Spartans, or gods, and this included creatures and animal protectors. Now they specify that creature in this case is a general Spartan term used to do any civilized people, and had special powers, but weren't like the god Spartans. So they were ruled in an oligarchic federation. It was really just like living La Vida Loca, from what I'm gathering. Just like you know, in Thor Ragnarok, Jeff Goldblum's character, that that is what they were doing 24/7, from what I gather. And then humans arrived and fucked that shit up. I'm kidding. The humans were actually kind of interesting to the gods, and humans worshiped them. And I mean, if you're a god, that must feel good. So then we are consider them ancient gods because they were like, humans are kind of cute. They're like, you know, the elephant to the human. Oh, you little cutie. That's kind of what we were doing, okay? And then, of course, centuries later, the Roman Empire was born. The gods followed. The mortal population increased exponentially. But the Spartans struggled with fertility. And get through this part, okay? Because I know this is lore dumping. That's my problem with this chapter, okay? So, we're struggling with fertility, and they stayed around 100. They discovered that Spartans weren't completely immune to death, that they could actually be killed. So humanity turned on the gods. They declared war on them. So the Spartans decided to disappear completely. So Spartans and creatures migrated to northern Italy and went into hiding in the Dolomites. Okay. But before they left, they just took away all their advancements, and this is the crediting They said that the Library of Alexandria being burned to the ground with the knowledge of the gods with it was done by the Spartans. Yo! So without Spartan guidance, Rome fell. Not for any other reasons. As time went on, our human perception of the gods was false and incorrect because the gods / Spartans, because we did not have the documentation. We weren't allowed to know. Fucking balls. This is so much lore. So, the Spartans weren't peaceful. They had 2 houses. The Chthonic house and the Olympian house. They had separate family bloodlines of different founding leaders. So Spartans from Olympian have powers that enhance themselves physically or mentally. There's a lot more of them, but then the Chthonic houses had powers that only hurt other people. And there's less of the Chthonics. For some reason, Aphrodite is a chthonic. So they had an uneasy truce, and then peace shattered in the 21st century. The Great War started. There was war. Weaker Olympian houses fell. War was locked in a stalemate. Sparta was on risk of collapse. Peace was reestablished after 2045. A few years later, in 2050, Titans, immortal monstrous creatures, inexplicably appeared on Earth and started slaughtering humans. That's right, we pulled a new Star Wars trilogy and made it so that all of a sudden Palpatine's back.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
So the gods rose again. So then, as reparations for the war crimes, the Chthonics were in charge of handling Earth's Titan problem. So it's called the Assembly of Death. The Chthonics and creatures were also forced to fight Titans and one another in the Dolomites Coliseum. It was a disturbing contest. It's the gladiators. It's gladiators. Nearly half a century later, Titans still roamed the Earth. So I think we're in like 2100 or something. Once again, the Federation struggled to keep power to address all the controversial marriage law. That's where our story begins. So we have lore dumped. Sorry, my guinea pigs are squeaking. So, now this is technically not even the first chapter. This is the introduction that I've given you. Why the fuck did we have to have a lore dump like that? Hello? Yeah. Why are we lore dumping like this? Can I not learn through the circumstance? Am I on coke? I don't know. So I really hope that, like, this is not written like that. Because that chapter was fucking booty. Just telling me the entire history of lore, I get it. Maybe even write it like it's a historical document. Instead, it's literally written like an outline. It's written like a book outline. Of just, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. Are we not... Like, what are we doing? I don't know. Next update will be whenever I feel like it. Fuck you.
The next day.
So it is the next day. I'm wearing the same sweatshirt, and I have... You can't really see it, can you? I have read more of Blood of Hercules. I am doing an update because a major plot event's about to happen. And so I want to get out this stuff first. And this is like the first 3 chapters of the actual story. And so I think it's important that I like do a little breakdown of like where we're at. I already have mixed feelings about this because world building wise, let me set up the world for you. It is incredibly interesting. I have never read a post-apocalyptic story based off of Greek mythology. where the Titans have essentially become like zombies in terms of like, think of a zombie apocalypse movie. There are zombies out there and they randomly show up and kill people, right? And so there are safe zones where it is more safe, but of course sometimes zombies get in and kill people. This is that, but Titans, where the Titans get in and randomly kill people. It is incredibly interesting in that. So it's taking Greek mythology and essentially taking like kind of a fucked up, almost anarchical, basically taking that society and like turning it on its head and making it like a Greek mythology based post-apocalyptic world, which is really cool. Like, that's super cool. I've never seen anything like that. The writing though, I'm having a hard time with. It is so on the nose and so just like spitting the information at you. Like, I'll get to it a little later, but I'll show you an example. But let's get through the story. I in this story is not I is Alexis. Most of the time. I believe whoever was in the intro was not I believe that was like a Greek god or something. I'll probably get to that. But I is a girl named Alexis, or Alex. She is an orphan and grew up in foster care. So we meet her at the age of 10. She lives in one of these safe zones, but it is fucked up. Sorry. It is fucked up. Like, there's a lot of addiction, a lot of issues, not enough food, all sorts of things. Just not really a great society. It is like the remnants of the U.S. government. And the U.S. government is linked to the Olympians and the Spartans. Like, the Spartans help fund the U.S. government. Very much our current experience in the United States. It feels mighty familiar. So one day Alexis, when she's 10 years old, is laying out in a field because she has nothing to fucking do. And she hears a voice and she meets a snake that no one else can see or hear. She's the only one who can see or hear her, and her name is Nyx. Nyx is, in Greek mythology, I believe, the goddess of night. But in this case, she is a snake, like a creature. And she's like, I'm lost. You're the first person who can see me. I'm gonna stick with you. And they become like best friends. Like, this is Alexis's only friend. And it's actually really cute, and I think it's an interesting like foreshadowing into the fact that she's going to be like, turns out she's like Spartan. Like, I think it was a fun little something. And Nyx is a fun character already. I like Nyx's existence. And so I actually really like that. And so her foster parents are abusive. And then in the next chapter, we meet her, and her foster parents are literally drinking fucking lean out of a bathtub. Like, that's how they make extra money, is they make lean in a bathtub and like sell it. Her foster parents are fucked up. Anyways, one day the US government shows up and says, here's another foster kid named Charlie. And Alexis immediately is like, we're buddies, we're besties, and takes it upon herself to protect Charlie. One night she overhears this is happening within 2 chapters, by the way. She overhears her foster parents talking about how they should kill Charlie because they can't afford to feed him. So she goes out and says, no, you gotta go through me first, bitch. And a huge fight ensues. She protects Charlie. They hide in the bathroom. And there's no 911. There's only emergency Spartan call. And they don't make that call. So they're fighting. She gets fucked up. She goes blind and deaf in half of her face, like half of her head. Like, she is permanently maimed by this fight. But then she overhears her father outside the door saying, there's a Titan out here killing your mother. And then finally the US government comes, and Alexis says, it wasn't a Titan, it was the dad. And so they are now free from their abusive father. That was a crash course. It's kind of a little more like complicated, but I think that's all that will be like important later. But anyways, now they are essentially homeless kids. And so it jumps to her in high school as an 18, 19-year-old about to take the Spartan merit test, which is basically like their version of the SAT, except it's more like the placement test in like countries like South Korea and China, where like this test determines if you go to what university you go to. Like it's not like you apply with those scores, it tells you where you go. But they do a good job of portraying a kind of fucked up society where like at one point, like, she says the librarian is her favorite person because the librarian caught one of the students getting a hand job under a desk, and so she shot that kid in the penis. Which is just insane, and like, yeah, it's kind of cringe, but it made me laugh. So like, I can make that, I find that funny. But anyways, this is where I get I have a little bit of a hard time with the rest of this. So it is made clear that the Spartans hunting the Titans has become kind of like a, what was that fucking like Instagram or like website that was like, it wasn't Live Leak. It's kind of Live Leak though. It's low-key Live Leak, where like there's a website that is like all things Spartan, including like Rule 34 of the Spartan like fan art, and like just like trying to figure out what the Spartans do, and people will post websites like, it's essentially sussings. If you know K-pop, sussings are like stalker fans. They go record and like publish those videos, and everybody's obsessed with it except Alexis because she's a cool girl. That part I'm like, nah girl, come on girl, you grew up in this society too, don't pretend you're all that you're not interested. Dewey's calling me. Anyways, the way of my issue here is the way that we are learning about the Spartans. We are being told, because literally this is the part that pisses me the fuck off. Instead, we already have gotten a little bit about Achilles. They're like, oh, you know, he is, you know, like so strong, he kills people this way, but we still literally get like a fucking bio of name, nicknames, lineage. This is a K profiles account. We are looking at the K profiles account, okay? And the Spartans. It makes me it's so hard to be like, oh my god, these are like gods, or like really like upper echelon, when they are literally, it literally says occupations, founded WSDL weapons manufacturing. They are the Palantir. They're fucking Palantir. They're fucking Lockheed Martin. Why do we have Spartans as Lockheed Martin in this? Like, hello? And like, I get it's supposed to be like, oh, they're like kind of immoral, but they have like government contracts and stuff. So I'm literally here like, not only are we getting weird storytelling, like of just like info dumps, we're also like, the characters themselves are just like, what do you mean dude's worth $3 billion and is like weapons manufacturing? And I get that it's supposed to be like, she's like, I don't get why everybody's obsessed with them. Look what they do horrible things. But it's just like, I guess in the current way society looks at things like this, I have a hard time believing no other kids would be like, because I mean, it's a joke in my generation of like, haha, Lockheed Martin, what do you mean you work for Lockheed Martin? Like, people have an ethical code currently, and so it's hard for me to get into the mindset that no other kid would be kind of fucking disturbed by this. Like, it's hard for me to get into that. Anyways, like, that's kind, and she's, so it is also specified Alexis is incredibly smart. Like, she is beyond the level of most people. And I think that's pretty interesting, and I like that. I like that, like, that mentality of, like, she's incredibly smart, and, like, she's literally devoting her life to trying to solve a mathematical hypothesis, and she wants to get into one of the Spartan academies because she's very smart. I just really hope they don't do this thing that I often see with, like, romantasy, where it goes from somebody being incredibly smart and being smart and an intellectual is their superpower. It's what puts them apart. And then all of a sudden the girls are like, and it's always girls. Then all of a sudden they're like, you're actually so strong. You're actually, you know, your body's actually built to be a warrior. And then now her smarts are not the important part. It's the fact that she can beat someone up. And so then all of a sudden she becomes like a fucking Olympic athlete. No pun intended in this case. Like, I don't like that transition. So I hope that her smartness is her power. Like, I hope that when they find out she's, like, Spartan related, that it's actually she's incredibly smart. Anyways, I do think this is unique so far. So, so I really hope that it stays that way. Who knows? And I will call, Dewy called me, Dewy just said, oh!
Several days later.
If this looks like a hostage video, because it feels like one. I'm 2 chapters later than my last update. I want to kill myself. I'm going to approach some of my review with this, with the idea that some people like this type of romance. And that is okay. My opinions about, because we've gotten to some of the, like, romantasy part. I want to make it clear that I get it. People have different views on stuff like this. And so while it may not be my cup of tea and my reaction may be harsh, we're talking bean soup, okay? Just because I don't like it in some areas of this doesn't necessarily mean that everybody should hate it. However, I've never cringed so hard in my life. So what happened is she took the Spartan, like the fucking SAT, and apparently there's a blood test like built into that. She does her blood prick, turns out that she has Spartan blood. 2 like fucking gargoyle motherfuckers show up and go, you coming with us? And they transfer her to the Dolomites where the Spartan initiation ritual is about to begin. Just like all of a sudden. And she gets there and turns out that the rumors are real. That, so basically how it works is you don't become immortal until you're 20. So they're 19. So the initiation happens at 19. You go through it, and then at 20 you become an official Spartan citizen and you're officially immortal. So she transfers there. It turns out that they do basically a culling ceremony where they make all of them try to kill each other until there's 10 left. And she's just thrown into this. So part of me is like, okay, I appreciate that she survives out of just kind of pure luck. Like, I appreciate that because she has no training. It would have been insane if she showed up and just went, surprise, I'm like magical and like can beat all your asses. She's like, nah, I have no fucking clue. I'm lucky I have this invisible bestie, Nyx, who bites people for me. Literally, that's her thing. I appreciate that. You hear me? I appreciate that. And then she gets her mentors. Turns out the mentors are the Spartans that she saw in the video prior. They're like the crazy chthonic Spartans that are just like murderers. But it reads like porn.
Huh?
This is porn. This is like, no sex has occurred and The writing is like a shitty porno of these characters. So, number one, turns out she's like the only female mutt, as they call them, essentially a Spartan who has a baby with a human. She is the only one in a long time because apparently the Spartans are having women problems. Again, another common like fantasy thing of there's not a lot of women. And so you like get your full choice of men. And like everybody wants you because you're the only woman. Like that's really what it is. But so she survives by the skin of her motherfucking teeth. Bless you, girl. And they're basically like, oh, she survived. Her mentors, so number one, already weird because she's like the only female, and they're kind of all like, it's also weird for them to abandon them, like females, because it's like, why would you abandon a female when we need them? So everybody's kind of like, anyways, none of my business. Though I think it's interesting, one of the other students, she sees in the like death thing that he has chthonic powers, which is the evil guys, and the chthonics are like, they were like, oh, we don't have any chthonics, but his powers are. So you have a bit of a like, oh, is it his secret that he has these powers? And I don't think he knows he has the powers, but his name is Drex. I think he'll be an interesting character, hopefully. So she's then assigned because of her special circumstance, and Patro, the mutt of the house of Aphrodite, and Achilles, the mutt of house of Ares. She's assigned 2 when everybody else has 1. I know what you are. I know what you are. I know what you're doing. Okay? Because they also have already emphasized multiple times that Spartans basically just have sex with anyone. I know what you're doing, honey. I see you. In the dialogue, when these guys show up, yeah, they're evil. But the dialogue, you can write better evil than fucking porn, okay? First line, that one of them says to her, "You're ours now," Patro said slowly, his voice cold. I do not give a shit if you're trying to say, oh, he said that and it's a little weird. It sounds weird. Why'd you write it like that? If you're evil, you go, you're my fucking dog. Like, it's mean. You say something mean like that. This, you're ours now. I know some of the girlies going, ah! And then, also, you disgust us. We don't like you and we never will. So rid yourself of all romantic delusions. Here's exactly what's gonna happen. And then they're like, you're Olympian and we're chthonic. We don't give a single shit about you. Got it? Shoot me in the fucking head, bruh. Kill me now. Hope the building across from me has a fucking sniper and shoots me right now. Between the eyes. Fucking NCIS Grace style. That is a spoiler of the first season. Sorry. I don't even think it's the first season. I think it's the 3rd. The internet was right. They are evil. And then she goes, you disgust me too? And then like regrets it immediately. And like they're right next to her and she's like, they're touching me. Their shoulders are touching me. My skin prickled. Heat radiating off of them. Girl, I've read better fanfic by people where English is their 5th language that had more interesting smut than this. And this isn't even smut yet. This is just like low-key horny shit. There are people on the internet who are fucking polyglots, and English is their last, most unprofessional language they speak. And they write better than this, in terms of, like, uniqueness. Anyways. Nyx is like, girl, you fucking screwed. I'm with Nyx. Nyx a real one for that. She literally goes, you're screwed. that man is not well. You can see it in his eyes. He wants to devour you violently. But, like, that doesn't feel sexual when it's coming from a fucking snake. Like, and then they're like, for, like, initiates, you will spend the next 2 weeks living and healing with your mentors as they prepare you for, like, the next test. And then she's fucking teleported to their home. What have I got myself into? Genuinely, what have I got myself into? This is, like, clinically insane. I know my sister will like this book. Yo, I think my sister will like this book. Wait, I'm gonna cut and call my sister on camera. I don't think she's gonna pick up. She doesn't, I'll leave a voice note or a video note. Hey bitch. That was mean. You know how I've been like making videos on TikTok and YouTube and stuff? Well, I'm doing another video of another book, and it's reminding me of you. Have you read this? Blood of Hercules. Have you read this? Girl, this straight porn. This straight porn. Read it, girl, I guess. Tell me if you've read it. Tell me how you feel about it. Because I already have thoughts and I'm like 100 pages. I just finished music business class. And I read a little bit during music business class. So here is today's update. I want to die. I am going to continue to say it is a unique plot. I am uniquely inspired. Okay? I matched the wall. But I have a lot of thoughts. In fact, during my it was a virtual class today for music business. I wrote out notes on how I'm feeling about what I've read since the last video update I did. So, let's go over it. So she started torture school. Yeah, I'm calling it torture school because that's what it is. It's torture. Let's see. So she did 2 weeks at the torture academy, and then they do like 3 days of strategizing. I still don't get what that's supposed to be, bro. Just like, why don't just go home to your parents, bro? I know she doesn't have parents, but like, you know. Anyways, at the torture academy, they just like make them like climb up the Nolomites and then swim through the river Styx. So she swam across the river and a nice kid drowned/dies in front of Alexis. And then, so these are the most important points. I'm not giving you a full breakdown because I don't think you care. The teacher suggests that someone killed the kid who drowned, and it was not Karen or Charon, who she thought it was. She thought it was because he was right there. Like, he played, so they had Charon play sharks and minnows with these motherfuckers. Okay, they're swimming across the river Styx, and he's essentially playing sharks and minnows. And so he's allowed to go up and, like, essentially fucking kill them. So she thought that Charon did that. Turns out it wasn't him. And so she's confused because she's like, I saw him there, and we were, like, the only two in that periphery. So, like, what happened? So throughout this, the Professor Augustus, who is another one of the Chthonic evil motherfuckers, who, let me say, suspect, because they take an entire fucking page to describe what he looks like, and he has a fucking like Hongjun from AT's split haircut from, I think that was Gorilla. For some fucking reason, this dude has split dyed hair. I guess it's to match his fucking raccoon. I'm not kidding. His animal, like, companion is a raccoon. So Professor Augustus doesn't seem to like her. he explains at one point that the regular female heiresses don't have to do the torture academy, only mixed, like, they call them mutts. And he seems bent out of shape, like, he seems to not like this fact. But also, why does he care? And then all of a sudden, later on, he, like, all of a sudden is nice to her. So, like, she goes to the bathroom and cries her fucking eyes out. Fair as fuck, girl. And then she goes back, and she has, like, one tear left, and she wipes it. And all of a sudden, he's nice to her. Like, he's making sure she drinks water after, like, the circuits they do and stuff. And it's, like, number one, I know that, like, it's, like, ooh, unethical, like, romance, if that's what we're doing. I don't care. As somebody who's in grad school and has been in school for a long time, it's just not ethical. Bro was literally in cheating torture school. That's Stockholm Syndrome. Anyways. I will also say what's hard about this as well, for me to, like, fully get into it. I know that, like, fantasy is supposed to be escapist in some element, but as a woman, reading this, I'd be scared to be raped. Like, she's the only woman in this entire space. It's not like, ooh, sexy to me. It's be scared. So, it's just hard to read it and not be like, this is not, like, a, like, fun environment. Everyone seems to just think she's half Zeus. But they also acknowledge she's a mutt, abandoned mutt. So, like, what are we doing? I don't know. So there's a chapter, which I was so excited. Because all these chapters, I knew they were going to change perspective at some point. Because the chapters, so here's one of them. It's like, chapter, the name of the chapter, and then the name of the person. So this is Alexis. This is Alexis's chapter. And I got to one, and it said Charon. And I was like, slay, new perspective. And this was after the River Styx situation. And so I was like, fuck yes, new perspective. It is also written in first person. And listen, I'm not a full hater of first person, but it would have been more interesting if we had a bit of a more, like, we're talking about Greek gods here. Like, if we had a bit of an elegance to it, of, like, all of a sudden we're in third person, and there's, like, an omnipotent perspective, I would be like, love. Why does everything have to be first person? Can we not have a bit of a flowery moment? Apparently not. I have so many opinions on the Charon chapter. Dewy, play a clip of pro-natalist chicken. But yeah, also, we changed, so you saw the image earlier. Cut back to the image of the lady on the page for Alexis's chapter. For Charon's, it's a fucking, oh, I just lost my page. It's a fucking Greek statue with sunglasses. Does it get any more millennial? No offense to millennials, but, like, I would have saw that on the internet in 2011. So Charon's cringe. I'm just gonna say it out loud. He's so, like, yeah, I love death and destruction. Yeah, fuck the Federation making us, you know, kill Titans. Joke's on them. We like killing Titans. So why fuck the Federation? They're giving you permission to do what you want, motherfucker. Shut the fuck up. You're annoying, bitch. Anyway, it's so fake edgy, and it ruins any of the intrigue of what we learn in this chapter, which is that he didn't kill her. Somehow Alexis did. So Alexis is like, I don't have a power. I don't have a power or something, and she's hiding that. And then, so for her to have killed him accidentally somehow suggests that she has a power she does not understand or does not know, and it is an evil one. It's not a good one. And so it puts into perspective the mother getting killed by a Titan when she was younger, but she didn't see the Titan. It might have been her. Fucking cool, right? Fucking intrigue. But Charon is so fucking cringe, bro. This dude is cringe. And so it's just so hard to get into. So it reads, since it's also an I, it reads more like Alexis writing as if she's Charon, because we don't have enough of a different writing style in this chapter for it to feel like a different person. It still feels like her just trying to be edgy. Like it takes me out of it. So yeah, he complains about treatment from the Olympians, but he seems to like most of the rules, except for the marriage one, and that the Chthonics have to marry like regular Olympian Spartans. And he's like, I don't like it, because they're trying to dilute our blood. And I'm like, I mean, that's fair. But then, now it seems he's hyper obsessed with her, because he's like, I have a plan. Ooh, her power, so cool. Like, he immediately seems like fucking obsessed. I don't know. So I'm assuming he's gonna try to marry her or something, judging from the type of book this is. And just like so unnecessary. It's so unnecessarily horny. Like, there's a full page describing Augustus's appearance, as I said. We're just always talking about touch. Little things, too. Patro putting his hand on Alexis's leg because she's floating in the fucking water and needs to pull her out. And she goes, he's touching me! Oh, we're always talking about people's dicks. Talking about boobs. Just offhanded comments. I don't like saying this, but it's very virgin. And not like, you know, I choose to be a virgin kind of virgin. It's, I'm 14 virgin. And I want to have sex. But, and I pretend that I have had it. But I haven't. And I'm hiding that. She's so suicidal apparently, like literally says something every other page about like wanting to die, but she won't kill herself, and I know it's for Charlie, like out of like, okay, if I get out of this, I can go get Charlie out of this. But like, it sounds, so that makes me think it's like a lol KMS kind of thing, like lol, I'm gonna kill myself joke, like I do, but it's not told in a way that makes sense, and also it's not working because like I'd kill myself in this circumstance anyways. Like, no, like if I was told I had to go through this and like I'll probably die anyways, take me out. Like, if I can't be with my family or friends anymore, if I'm essentially gonna be married off, kill me, take me out. And then lastly, for this update, this made me want to die. Actually, no, it made me want to say, I swear to God, kill yourself. Kangyo-san. So, I wrote down the page number, 204. I'm assuming this is supposed to be a joke, but, Patro is kind of, like, making fun of her being scared of him. And she goes, the jerk is taunting me. Suddenly, the old beliefs that women had hysteria problems didn't seem so far-fetched. I could see it. Case in point, I was a woman and I was hysterical. KYS. Don't joke about that shit. That's not funny. Oh, what the fuck? It takes me out of it. Call me a hyper-feminist. I am. Fuck your boyfriend. Take that out. I don't care. I'm just like, what the fuck is this, bro? Because the plot points are good. That's the problem. The plot points themselves, I'm like, I have never read anything like this, and I want to know what happens next. Now I'm gonna go play Marvel Rivals. I'm gonna take a break from this for tonight. I can't read any more tonight. I'm snowed in, so I'll read some more tomorrow. And for all those wondering, I do get whiplash every single night because this is my main read, which is The Count of Monte Cristo. So I go from this to Count of Monte Cristo, which is like literally a classic of classics. And I love it. It's so good. Of course, it's like 1,200 pages, so I'll be reading this for a long time. But like, I love this shit. It's so good. And so it's just whiplash every single time because I love the plot points of that, but not the writing or like the execution of it. But this, I love everything about it. So this is how I'm getting through. This is how I get through that book. If I didn't have a palette cleanser, I wouldn't be able to finish this video. This video would have been a DNF video. Anyways. You'll notice that I am not holding the book. And that is because I feel like if I hold it right now, I might shred it with the level of I feel. What the fuck? Okay. Okay. I am in my pajamas. Now, I also want to say that it is over a day since I finished the book because I needed so much time to actually decompress from the level of absolute dumbness that this book ended in. I took notes, so if you see me looking like that, it's because I'm reading notes. Let's go through the plot points. Let's go through the plot points first, because I feel like that's important. So, how to say... Was this recorded in a shower?
We are looking at how to pronounce this name, as well as how to say more unclear names in English. This is a name of Greek origin, a boy's name, meaning of keen gaze. How do you go about pronouncing it? For reference in Greek, this is said as Charon.
Sharon.
Charon.
Haron. I'm gonna say Haron. Yo. Okay. So, we finished another 2 weeks at Torture Academy. And she goes back to Patro and Achilles' home. And Sharon is there and talks to Alexis. He suggests to her, when the others are gone, that he knows her power. But she's confused because she doesn't know. She's like, the fuck you talking about? I don't have powers. It is extremely clear, even though it seems to be foreshadowing, that he plans to marry her and hide that she has evil powers or something. Just obvious that he has a plan and he wants to marry her. It's so fucking obvious. And you'd think that if that is the foreshadow, you would want in some level to also anticipate that, like, she is okay with it. Because, you know, like, ethics. But then again, I'm reading this book. So, what was I fucking expecting when I wrote this note? So Augustus, again, her teacher at the school, goes on a feminist rant, but not in a OMG supportive ally thing, but kind of like condescending. I actually need the book to talk about this. Fuck my chungus life, bro. Ugh. Ow! Where did I put it? Now I will also say, with all these plot points, there actually wasn't very much plot near the end of this book. Like, the second half of the book, there wasn't much plot. I didn't learn very much. So for context, she beat up some of the guys who were bullying her in the torture academy, and Augustus witnessed the aftermath, and he's kind of in awe that she like destroyed them, and he's kind of like, good, like, as she should have. But then he's like, I see that life had hurt her. So, quote, life had hurt her badly, just like it had hurt me. These are on 3 different lines, by the way. Each of those is a separate line. It doesn't matter. Don't feel bad for her. That's what she wants. This is all a game to her. She didn't make sense. Again, separate lines. From what I'd seen, Alexis blundered through life, naive and frustratingly innocent, with no thought for the consequences. Mix in her sanctimonious need to prove women should fight alongside Spartan men, and you had my worst nightmare come to life. But I was here. I was the consequences. I was going to keep her and all the women under my charge safe, whether she fucking wanted it or not. This is so, like, divine feminine, divine masculine, like, feminist mentality. Like, she does not want to prove that she's among Spartan men. She's trying to fucking survive. And throughout this entire book, especially near the end, all of these, like, Spartans treat her like, because she grew up in the human world, it's treated like she, like, everybody acts like she wants this. And she never, ever has a moment where she kind of, like, breaks out of her shyness and goes, I never wanted this. I hate this. I am simply trying to survive. Like, there is never a moment in all of this that she sticks it to the man and goes, no, I don't want this. You guys forced me into this. There was never a moment where that's acknowledged. And so it makes it so that everyone's just a fucking cunt. And so, like, this, like, need to prove women should fight alongside Spartan men. Yeah, she doesn't want to, bro. You think a girl who goes to the bathroom and cries on a rusty fucking toilet wants to be there? No. No. Are you on coke? Seriously. But he goes on this weird feminist rant, but then also unethical professor trope, which is just yucky. Just so fucking yucky. He literally says, like, he obviously is attracted to her and, like, wants to, like, he literally gets hard when looking at her. Disgusting. And I know that's some people's thing, and that happens in fan fiction, but, like, this false feminism, a false feminist ally mixed with, like, liking your, mind you, she's 19. Like, she's 19. She's a child. She's a teenager. And he's saying all this. It's fucking weird. Like, I would get it if they were, like, even if they were, like, 20 or 21. It would be like, okay, like, fair enough. She's 19. She's literally 19. He literally says something about, like, handcuffing her to his bed. That's your student. That's your student. That's your student. And I don't know if I'm also, like, hyper aware of this, because number one, I will also say, I know some kids when they're young have crushes on their teachers. I never had that. Especially in high school. Majority of my teachers fucking hated, they didn't hate me, but they treated me like absolute poo-poo butt. You know who you are. Look at me now. fuck you. Like, they treated me like poo-poo butt. And so I never had an experience where I had a crush on a teacher. And it's a perfectly normal thing. Like, it happens to a lot of people. They have crushes on your teacher. But your teacher's not supposed to act on it. That's fucking unethical. And no matter the age group. Like, never. Like, never in any bracket should you be in a relationship with your teacher, your professor, your teacher, whoever. Like, that is breaking a code of conduct. And, like, yeah, it may not be illegal if it's an adult, but it's not ethical. And I get, like, unethical tropes in books, but unethical tropes in books should also be carry a certain weight to them of, like, yikes, and have something to say about the unethicalness of it. There is no acknowledging of it. Like, Nyx, the snake, literally goes, oh, he so likes you, and it's not portrayed as a negative. Like, it's not portrayed as a negative. He simply says, I'm older than her, I'm her professor, this is wrong on so many levels, but then continues. And as I will get to later, basically acts on it. So, like, so it's not treated with the severity of it. And so she gets to, like, the symposium, which is essentially like a fucking orgy that those Spartans have. And Augustus is like, you shouldn't go. Don't go. And she's like, I'm gonna go. The fuck? I'm a Spartan too. Like, what? And he gets all bent out of shape. He's like, women, you know, women shouldn't have to deal with it. You know, this isn't right. Okay. Also, I'm pretty sure that, did the sister go to that? No, I don't think she did. Because Augustus has a 16-year-old younger sister. So I don't think she went to that. If she did, that's a whole nother conversation. Because it's essentially a sex party. But it's made clear earlier in the book that sirens are essentially prostitutes in this world, and that they cannot be understood by humans. Humans can't understand the dialect of creatures. And when she gets there, she realizes that she can understand the sirens and they can understand her. And that she can speak to the creatures. To creatures. That's why she can speak to Nyx. That's why she can speak. And I'm like, this is fucking cool. So she's sitting there actually having a social moment with a group of sirens. And, like, talking to them and becoming friends. And it's the first moment in the entire book that Alexis comes out of her shell. And that moment, I was like, love it! Love it! It felt like a moment of coming out of her shell where you really actually felt Alexis coming into her own. Because I've been a nervous, awkward, mentally ill teenager. I mean, like, this is a little personal. I didn't get diagnosed with severe OCD until I was 19. Like, I lived a majority of my life with severe OCD, which made it hard to go through school and stuff. And so I relate to Alexis on some levels of that. And so seeing that, it was like the feeling of meeting people that you gel with, where for the first time you have people you love, or that you know you could be with these people for the rest of your life. Dewey's one of them. Thank you. Like, I meet people, there's been times in high school and college where I meet people and I know that these people will matter to me for the rest of my life. And this felt like that moment for her. And I was like, my girl. Yes, girl. And so she makes friends with these sirens. And then Augustus sees that one of the guys is kind of like touching her, because sirens are supposed to be a little sexual in this. He touches her arm or something, and he picks her up and takes her out of the symposium. Nah, girl, you can't be here.
Bruh.
And so we never meet the sirens again.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So, fuck that point that I was feeling, right? Fuck that point. But for her, it's kind of like, okay, at least now I know my power. And I'm like, okay, good for you, girl. You ate that. And it's cool. It's cool to be able to talk to the creatures. I'm like,
And then she finds her like familiar, and it's like this mangy little dog. And I'm like, cute. I love it. Little grimy little fucking dog that he bites like twigs like dogs do, but he doesn't know to bite it sideways. He sticks it down his throat and like chokes on them. I'm like, this is such a fun little cute creature moment. Love it. Surprise, Patro and Achilles are gay. She sees one of them choking on it. No shit, bruh. No shit. The closet was glass. Their house is glass. It was a no shit moment. Was I supposed to be surprised? I guess so. And it seems to be at this moment that the author forgets that Patro and Achilles are supposed to be assholes. Because for the rest of the story, Achilles can't talk. But Patro treats her like she's a sweet little girl, and she's like a sister. Huh? And also then it's revealed they're bisexual, and I know for the second book it's supposed to be like, oh, something could happen in the second book, who knows? And then twice. So one of the other kids, and this is important, it's out of order the way I'm telling you. At one point, she gets back from something, and there's a box with her name on it, and she opens it, and there are pieces of another one of the kids that was in the torture academy that really liked her. Who said, I have a crush on you, I actually really like you. And she was like flattered. Like, she didn't have any ill will. And there are pieces of him. There are eyes, hands in the box. And she panics. She's like, what the fuck? Somebody's stalking me. These letters are horrible. Like, this is horrible. And she also has letters being left in her book going, like, you know, you have until the initiation ball to leave Sparta. And she's like, bitch, the fuck? And she throws out the note, but is horrified by the box. And then another one comes in, and it's the siren that hit on her it's like dead parts of the siren that hit on her in the symposium. And she's like, and I'm like, yeah, girl, what the fuck? And then Augustus, like, talks about how he has had sex with people with Sharon together, but apparently Sharon annoys the fuck out of him. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know. And then I'll come back to that one. That's cringe dialogue. That's a whole overarching issue. Then a Titan attacked at one point, which was weird when they were on the circuit, when they were like doing essentially a triathlon. A Titan attacked, and I mentioned this, but it was a total nothing burger. Nothing really came out of it. Nothing happened. She survived. And like a kid died. Yeah. like nothing came out of it. And then at one point she's sitting around with people and she mentions Charlie again, her like adopted brother. Augustus crashes the fuck out at her. He comes up to her and goes, "Who's Charlie?" And she's like, and of course she's trying to protect Charlie because she's like, these guys are freaks, like I'm not telling them about it. And he's going, "Who's Charlie? You better fucking tell me." And she's like, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden we get to the initiation ball. Turns out that one of the people who was stalking her was Theros, who was the heir to Zeus's line, and he had essentially kidnapped her and then she escaped. I'm not going into the details because they don't fucking matter. And they get back to the ball, and she goes, Theros did this. Theros kidnapped me. He's killed every single person who has ever been an heir to Zeus. And they're all like, oh, they just like believe her immediately. And it's like a whole debacle. I don't know why I want to say shabacle. I think shebang and bacle just became one. And then all of a sudden, they realize that her power was not being able to talk to creatures. It's actually that her blood is poisonous. That if she gets an injury, like a cut, and then puts her blood on someone, or like it gets into, like, you know, her blood will kill someone. Turns out she's chthonic. And then Hades and Persephone are there, and they go, oh my god, are you our daughter Hercules?
Huh?
And all of a sudden, turns out, no foreshadowing, turns out she's actually the daughter of Hades and Persephone. Did we have any knowledge that that was possibly going to be a thing? I can't think of a single thing in this that foreshadowed that. Whatever. But it just comes out of the blue. We see Hades and Persephone one time prior, and it was at the initial like brawl that happened like forever ago. So yeah. And so they're like, oh my god, this is our daughter Hercules. Which also, could you at least have feminized the name? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a pain in the dick. But like, feminize the name? Maybe? I don't know. Little, and I knew Hercules was going to be part of it. My prediction was that she was going to be the child of Hercules and Medusa. Because Medusa is in jail for supporting the Titans at this point. And so I thought she was going to be like, and that's why Nyx was there, because, you know, Snake and stuff like that. I thought that was going to be it. But apparently, and I'm still not convinced that it's Hades and Persephone. I will read the second book. This is my announcement. I will read the second book just because I really hope that the story is better than this. I am grasping at the shreds of this book to hope it is good. Okay? I'm grasping. And then all of a sudden, you know, as I mentioned in the past, Chthonics have to marry a Olympian Spartan because they're trying to dilute the bloodline. However, the plan that Sharon and Augustus had actualizes. And it turns out that those two dead bodies were part of the courting ritual, and that since she opened them, she accepted them, and they are, meaning that she has accepted their marriage proposal. So they tricked her into her marrying them. And they're like, well, you know, you have to, and so then, of course, Zeus and everybody's like, you have to marry an Olympian one. And they're like, actually, in the bylaws, it says we can't marry from these chthonic, we have to, like, we can't marry these people. She doesn't count. She is outside of these lineages. And so she's not mentioned, so we bypass the law. Essentially, they play fucking lawyer.
Got a pre-existing juvenile foundational relationship. Statute 2705-3.
What? Texas statute?
And they're like, because of course, I guess they're polyamorous. The whole Spartan society is polyamorous. They were like, we're both marrying her. And I'm like, and she's horrified. She's like, excuse me? And so, at the end, trigger warning, which was not in the trigger warnings in the beginning, I would consider, I guess that was what open door scenes means, like, the ethics of it are concerning. There's like, they like, are like, oh, we're like consummating the marriage. And she's kind of resisting. It ends with a low-key rape scene. And Patro and Achilles are like, have a little moment where they're like, this is not okay, like this is fucked up. She should be with us, essentially. Like, suggesting that in the future they're gonna try to take her. That's the story! And so, in the end, it seems that she's like, I need to get away from them. Like, I need to get away from them somehow. Also, they, like, go and get Charlie so he can live with them, even though he's human. Oh, actually, yeah. And then, turns out, fate brought Charlie. It wasn't the government. Fate brought the muse, or whatever the fuck she is. Now let's get to the things that piss me the fuck off. I had so much hope in the first half of the book. Yes, the writing is not good. I was gonna say booty hole. It's not fully booty hole, but it's like a cheek, you know? Like, this is the ass. We're half-assed right now. And I was like, I can deal with half-ass. I can deal with a cheek. Okay? Don't like it. Don't like just seeing a cheek. But it's there. You know? And I gotta live with it. Because kind of like a low-key, like a futuristic, like, Greek mythology twist. It is on its own a really unique idea that I think on its own has a lot of merit. And I read the back. The author has a Greco-Roman classical degree from Georgetown and is a former lawyer. I will say, her knowledge of Greco-Roman stuff is very well seen in this book. It is very interesting, and I'm happy it isn't like, oh, these gods are perfect, because, you know, we know that's not how, like, ancient gods kind of looked at stuff. Or, like, ancient pantheons were. They were kind of messed up, they had their own things, they were closer to humans than, like, Abrahamic religions. And so she obviously knows her shit. And so, on its own, the basis of the story is so interesting, in my opinion. I think it has so much goodwill to it. But it feels like it has been consumed by this expectation to make it smutty. To make it some form of, like romantasy. And to follow darker themes. It feels like she came up with this idea and a publisher said, well, what's selling right now is romantasy. So this needs to be romantasy. And I hope it's that. I hope that she herself, like, I hope she knows that the basis of her idea has so much individual merit. And I thought it was genius. But the writing holds it back. And the smut elements totally ruin, in the end, this excitement for who Alexis could be. I feel like the character of Alexis has been lost, and her usage to become a smut ball. That's the best way I can describe it. There needs to be, this is slow burn, technically, because there's no full sex scene until literally like the last 5 pages. And even then, I perceived it as either dub-con, non-con rape. So I just can't help but like feel like this book could have been something fantastic. But now we're walking out of this one, and she's in a forced marriage, and she has no like ultimate goal. There's no, other than being stuck in a forced marriage, she has no other thing that's carrying her forward. If she was like, I am now going to fight for justice for creatures because I can speak to them. I can speak to them and I understand them. Then I would be like, yes, I want to see her fight against the system that she has been forcibly brought into. Instead, it feels like a are we going to walk in and say, oh, are we obsessed with the low-key stalker rapists? Or are we going to go to the bisexual Patros and Achilles? And so instead of her value being herself, it's the sexually charged position she's in. And romanticy is one thing, but you at least gotta have a character with other motivations. Because as sexual beings, you can't just exist as a sexual being. Even though we often as a society like see sexual beings as like, or like sexuality as like this inert thing, that if a woman is extremely sexual or is like working sex work or something, that's her, that you gotta have some other existence. Her ability to talk to creatures and stuff. All this needs to be expressed because she herself is a human being. And at the end of this book, all I see is them putting her in a position where she is now a romantic / sexual pawn. It is, yet again, 2 days later. My camera died, and I'm here for the rant. Instead of this book ending with like a call to action for Alexis as a person, it ends with her just becoming like a sex pawn, essentially. And it's like, what? She's turned, her entire existence at the end is that she's a political and sex pawn for these two men, for Charon. I'm gonna call him Karen. Fuck you. You're Karen. Karen and Augustus. She becomes a sex pawn for these two gods. And we don't have a moment of her expressing a want either. It's not like she's forced into this and she's like, but I want to do this. I want to do that. She has none of that. None of that is happening. She is entirely just, now I'm forced to be married to these two men. Like, come on. Like, really? Like, it would have been so cool if she was like, oh, I understand creatures. I can understand sirens and all these other, like, sentient creatures. How about I fight for them to be considered, you know, be treated ethically in this world? Or to challenge the status quo of the society that she didn't want to be a part of. Like, she doesn't express any of that. There's none of this. There's no, I'm gonna reconnect with my apparent parents, Hades and Persephone. I'm gonna figure out what a family feels like. And none of that. There's no, and maybe it happens in the next book, but I am not as tempted to read the second book because I'm not seeing that emotion or those goals being set into place in this one. There's no cliffhanger. There's nothing that's bringing me from this to the next. Except, oh my god, is she gonna stay in a fucking arranged marriage? Who knows? Huh? And, like, she doesn't express wanting to return to the human world either. Of course, like, Charlie is, like, not in the human world anymore. He's now with them. So it's like, I guess she has nothing holding her back to the human world. Or, like, if she wants to figure out what's going on with the Titans or anything. Nothing! Nothing! She has no life direction. You have an entirely amazingly thought out world building in this book, and then at the end, instead of saying let's explore this world more, we are shoved into just like sexually charged arranged marriage. Like, that's all we got. And so I'm going to compare it to another book. This is the second book in the Fallen Gods series. The first one is God Killer. If you are interested in it, definitely recommend God Killer. That one ends on a really big cliffhanger, which it may be a little too much. Like, if Sunbringer wasn't out yet and I ended on that, I would have been really fucking angry. But Sunbringer has taken the world that was built in the first one, and now we're learning more about different elements within the world. New countries, new gods, just new everything. But it's still within the same world. This is the same for Adrian Tchaikovsky's the series that starts with the City of Last Chances, which is funny because I love that series. It's something Tyrants, is the like official name of the series. But like that pull of taking the world and building it more is what makes the world building in a series more intriguing. And so if there was more of an inciting thing for the world building in this to be like, I want to read more of the next world and I know I'm going to get it, I think I'd be running to Barnes & Noble right now. My Barnes & Noble's 2 miles away. I live in a city, so that's like not a big deal, but still. Like I would run to the Barnes & Noble and get it. This one, no. And like, okay, now it's actually charged marriage. I don't care how sexy these men are. I don't care what they are. I don't care whatever. I don't care. Because instead of us ever seeing a redeeming quality, we see nothing. We only see the evil. We only see the darkness. Dark romantasy works when we can see that this evil king or like evil man has some redeeming or interesting quality about him. So like, does he fight for his kingdom? Is his kingdom his obsession? Does he care about it so much that he's willing to do anything for it and its people? Does he have a dark backstory that inspires empathy? Was he abused as a child? Whatever, which is a really hard bargain to push, but you know, does his story inspire empathy or sympathy and contribute to who he is as a person now? And can, of course, the pick-me girl's dream, this isn't you. Can the main character change who he is? Can she be like, the world is so much more beautiful than you could ever imagine. You should take. And for all those questions, the answer in this book is no. We spend the entire time talking about how evil they are. How they are inherently evil. And I don't know what they do. I don't know what they like. Yeah, Augustus is a professor. He teaches something. Is he enthusiastic about that? Does he care about maintaining historical documents? We don't fucking know. Dude, we don't know. He has no personality. None of these like evil possible love interests have a personality. The entire time I was hoping that she would fall in love with Drex, one of the other students, because we can see that he's a kind, complex individual who had a very similar backstory to Alexis. And I knew immediately, nah, they're gonna take the 19-year-old and put her with a 26-year-old. So there's that. There's also, they don't have a kingdom that they value. They value each other, but they don't have a kingdom that they value. And they value each other basically just because of their heritage. No other, like, you have a personality, and I like you for that. Like, even Patro and Achilles, we don't see what about the two of them that they love about one another. We just hear, I love you, I love you. We don't see that love in any other way than sexual. It's really just, sure, hand on the shoulder. That tells me nothing. I put a hand on the shoulder of my best friend before I crack his head open on the wall. And they don't have dark backstories that make me feel for them. Their dark backstories are, we're chthonic. We were born to kill. That's all we got. That's their dark backstory. And we're supposed to think their dark backstory is on par with Alexis's, which is literally homelessness since the ripe age of 10. I have no empathy. I have no empathy for them. Yeah, there's no shining light of her possibly showing them what love and care is, because she's fighting for her life anyways. Like, she's always been on survival mode. So we also don't see her as someone, she needs to find love for herself first. So how is she supposed to show them that the world is a great place when she doesn't view the world as a great place? Like yeah, it's emphasized to the end of days that they are evil in their own words and that they like being evil. Right? Where is my complex man? Where's my complex man? No complex man. Not a single complex man in here. All the men are not complex. They're boring. They're bored. They're just evil because they can be evil. I don't like it. And so how can we as readers be excited about the marriage and the sexual scenes when Alexis has no want for it and has repeatedly been scared of them? And of course, that's a kink, but she don't got the kink. She don't got a kink for that. At least she hasn't expressed it. This makes me sound like I don't get dark tropes. Girl, I read Marvel fanfiction. I read Lord of the Rings fanfiction. I've read Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction. I've read so much fucking fanfiction. I know dark tropes. I've known dark tropes since I was a child. I scared the ever-loving shit out of myself reading a Sonic fanfiction when I was 10 years old. Shadow died and made me really sad. So I get dark tropes. I am no hater for dark tropes. I love dark shit. I mean, literally on my music, portfolio, I have an entire portfolio for sad shit. I have 2 categories of music I write. House and EDM, depressing romantic era classical. That's my multifaceted existence. I get dark tropes. But dark tropes require an emotional element that motivates that darkness. Darkness doesn't exist in a vacuum unless you're in space. Okay? We ain't in space. We're with the Spartans. Okay? Kings too. They don't exist in a vacuum. Sexuality isn't a thing that is just thrown in a story. Sexuality has a motivation. There are reasons why we're attracted to things we are attracted to. That's the whole joke about daddy issues. Is that kink is often motivated by a personal backstory. We got none of that! If you're gonna have a daddy kink in this book, I want to know. Alexis has the right to have both daddy and mommy issues. But she don't got those. I'm not asking for her to have those issues, by the way. It's an example. And I will read the next book. I want to be clear. I will read the next book of this. Because I want to see if the world building will continue. Because I like it. I like the story beats. I like the world building a fuck ton. It's actually so interesting. I've never read anything world building wise like it before. And I hope the next book is more complex. And I want to know, I really fucking want to know why the Titans inexplicably showed up and started killing humans. I want to meet Medusa. Because I'm not convinced Hades and Persephone are the parents. I think Medusa got something to do with it. So I want to meet Medusa. I want girl power. I almost said girl on girl. I want girl power. Okay? I hope we see Alexis with her siren friends again, because that moment was the first time in the entire book where I felt like Alexis could be her own pure self, and it was beautiful. Before, one of her now arranged husbands literally fucking killed and fucking deboned that motherfucker. Alright? I hope she discovers true happiness outside of this horrible predicament she's in, and she's able to move past her childhood. Because ultimately, as fucking cringe as the writing is, as fucking cringe as it is, and how cringe Alexis is sometimes, which I also put off to her being like written as a 19-year-old. I know it's probably, judging from the fact that the other perspectives are also cringe, I know it's probably just the writing style is cringe, but like Alexis herself can be cringe. I'm okay with her being cringe. She's 19. She's a girl. We're all just girls. Like, while how cringe she is, she's a character that I actually see myself in. Like, I see young me. Of course, I see 16-year-old me, but she's supposed to be 19. But, like, her anxiety, her way of moving about the world is relatable. Like, she herself is a relatable human being and someone that you would want to know and, like, be around. And she's easy to project yourself into as well. And so, as a character, an interesting person. And, like, you know, I want to see her live life. I want to see her live her life in this. And I hope that the marriage element doesn't consume the rest of their story and that the smut elements can be separated from and just be an add-on to an otherwise interesting world building. Because this fucking book, man. Yeah. So that's the end of my review. Technically. Oh yeah, there was a cringe thing that I was gonna pull up. Yeah, so she finds a sweatshirt in her room at Patro and Achilles' home, and it has the skull on the front, which was sticking up. Its middle finger had grown on me. Fluck the fucking world. Life's a biatch like that. I'm not fucking kidding. It's written like that. Yes, I was in my emo era. No, I didn't want to talk about it. That was the point. However, as a commitment to the lifestyle, I was experimenting with swearing in my mind. Play pro-natalist chicken.
You cannot have 11 babies. I'm not allowing it.
This book took a lot. I want that to be